just flagging that we're holding today's hearing. We don't have folks that have a history of administering elections at a statewide level, which I think would be helpful as we're exploring placing mandates on states at the statewide level. It would seem to be appropriate to bring in some folks that have that experience. Not that people won't be well suited in the future, but this is that evidentiary opportunity for us to ask how this law would impact states across our country. Let me dive in if I can, Secretary Bellows. In your stated testimony in Maine, we're talking about how this plays out at the state and local level. You talk about the staff levels, how many people we have in Maine. During the last elections, do you have any knowledge of folks that were waiting longer than 30 minutes in a substantive way across the state of Maine?
We have over 5, and so we do not have extended wait times, in part because 62% of our electorate voted absentee.
I'm going to retain my time. That's fine. No critique as to how Maine's doing it, but across Maine, you didn't have extended wait times across Maine. Was that because of a federal mandate, or is that because of how Maine chose to implement their laws in the state of Maine, meaning Maine made decisions that were best for Maine and seemed to work well, or was there a federal mandate that told you how to operate your election in Maine that allowed you to have that success in your eyes?
There are safeguards in Maine that are consistent with HR 1, like no excuse absentee voting, and the ability to cast your vote 30 days ahead of time.
Wisconsin has great elections as well. We have great opportunity for access. But I just want to be clear, in Wisconsin, it's because of the way we're running our states. It's not a federal mandate, and it sounds like that's also the case in Maine. That there's not a federal mandate. That Maine has passed laws that work well for Maine. Wisconsin's passed laws that work well for Wisconsin, and we have a history in the United States of allowing states to run their own elections. I think it's part of the importance of our integrity in our elections, not to have one size fits all mandates across our state. I'm going to shift gears here slightly, just because I'm limited on time. It's my understanding, Secretary Bellows, that you did take public funds for your most recent campaign for secretary or for state senate to the tune of roughly $74,000. Is that correct?
So I did participate in Maine Clean Elections, and I'm happy to talk about the small donor matching program. It's an excellent program that has won bipartisan support.
I'm just tight on time. I just wanted to confirm that you participated in that. What did you use the $74,000 for that were given to you by taxpayers in public funding in the state of Maine?
So our campaign used the public financing system for road signs, for literature to voters, for radio advertisements, for permissible campaign expenditures, not for anything that personally benefits any candidate.
No, nothing wrong with that. So that's how you use those funds. And if those funds were then available at the federal level, which HR 1 would allow, a candidate could use those to run negative ads, negative literature that they would want to mail. They could pay political consultants, and they could use taxpayer money to run for re-elections. I think that's a real important distinction, right? So in Maine, you use public financing, and then ultimately you've chosen to leave the seat that you ran for in the state Senate to take this appointment to Secretary of State. It seems like a great position for you. But taxpayers spent $74,000, and now my understanding is in the state of Maine, there's going to be another special election to fill that seat. Is that correct?
So in Maine, 67% of the Senate Republicans who were just elected used our public financing system, as did 74%.
I'm not critiquing how Maine runs their system. I think there's a real validity in allowing states to choose how to run their systems. I'm not a fan of public financing. I'm concerned mostly as to what would happen if at the federal level we allowed federal taxpayer dollars, or the way that we're working this through and claiming that it's buckets of fines. I think that's just an important distinction, that we all understand that taxpayers, that federal government money would be on the hook for us going forward. If I can just ask you one follow-up question here. I know you were the executive director of the Maine ACLU, and the ACLU put out a letter in opposition to HR 1 2 years ago, saying the bill in its current form would still unconstitutionally burden the speech and associated rights of many public interest organizations and American citizens. And it goes on from there. There's several objections in their letter. You may be familiar with it. Do you disagree with the ACLU or do you think that they were wrong to oppose the bill 2 years ago?
The gentleman's time has expired, but